Hello, my friend. My name is Mark. Over the years, I've spent countless hours researching healthy aging, mobility, nutrition, and one question that keeps appearing again and again. Why do so many adults over 75 gradually lose strength, even when they believe they're doing everything right? If you're watching today, chances are you've noticed a few changes yourself. Maybe getting out of your favorite chair takes a little more effort than it used to. Maybe you reach for the handrail when climbing stairs. Maybe carrying groceries from the car feels heavier than it did just a few years ago. Or perhaps you've experienced something many older adults rarely talk about openly, that small moment when you lose your balance. That unexpected wobble. That split second when your heart skips a beat because you thought you might fall. Most people don't talk about those moments, but they remember them. Because deep down, many adults over 75 aren't worried about building bigger muscles. They're worried about something much more important. They're worried about staying independent. They're worried about continuing to live in their own homes. They're worried about walking confidently. They're worried about staying active enough to enjoy time with family, grandchildren, hobbies, travel, gardening, and the simple pleasures of daily life. And if we're being honest, many people are quietly afraid of becoming dependent on others. Not tomorrow, not next week, but someday. The truth is that losing strength rarely happens overnight. It happens slowly. So slowly that many people don't notice it at first. One day you need both hands to stand up. A year later, stairs seem a little steeper. Then carrying groceries becomes more tiring. Then longer walks feel less comfortable. Little by little, the body starts asking for more effort to perform the same tasks that once felt easy. And many people simply assume this is an unavoidable part of getting older. But what if that's not the whole story? What if some of what we're experiencing has less to do with age itself and more to do with how our bodies process nutrition as we get older? That question led me down a fascinating path of research. Because one thing surprised me. Many adults over 75 continue eating protein-rich foods every day. Eggs, chicken, fish, meat. Yet they still notice their legs becoming weaker, their balance becoming less reliable, their energy slowly fading. So naturally, I started asking, if protein is so important, why are so many older adults still struggling to maintain strength? The answer turned out to be far more interesting than I expected. You see, after 75, the challenge isn't always how much protein you're eating. Sometimes the challenge is how efficiently your body can actually use it. Think about it this way. Imagine two people filling a fireplace with wood. One fireplace burns efficiently, the other loses much of its heat through the chimney. Both receive the same amount of wood, but one produces much more warmth. As we age, our bodies can become a little like that second fireplace. The fuel is there, but the efficiency changes, and that's why two people can eat similar meals and experience very different results. This doesn't mean eggs are bad, far from it. Eggs remain one of nature's most impressive foods. But during my research, I discovered something that caught me completely by surprise. There are several seeds that contain unique combinations of protein, healthy fats, minerals, fiber, and nutrients that may offer important advantages for older adults looking to support strength, mobility, and active aging. In fact, some researchers and nutrition experts have become increasingly interested in these seeds because of the role they may play in supporting muscle maintenance, energy production, recovery, and overall movement as we get older. Now, before we continue, I want to be clear about something. This isn't about becoming a bodybuilder. This isn't about trying to look 20 years younger. And it certainly isn't about chasing unrealistic promises. This is about something much more practical. It's about helping your body continue doing the things that matter most. Walking through the grocery store without feeling exhausted, getting up from a chair without struggling, climbing stairs with confidence, maintaining balance, reducing the fear of falling, and preserving the independence that makes life enjoyable. Because one fall can change an older adult's life overnight. Most people understand that. That's why maintaining strength isn't really about muscles. It's about freedom. It's about confidence. It's about continuing to live life on your own terms. So today, I'd like to share 5 remarkable seeds that stood out during my research. Each one offers something unique. Each one may help support healthy aging in a different way, And as we move through the list, you'll notice that the benefits go far beyond protein alone. In fact, the seed that ranked number one surprised me the most, because it contains something very few older adults have ever heard about, and its potential role in healthy aging has attracted a great deal of attention in recent years. So let's begin with the first seed on our list. Number 5, quinoa. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. Mark, isn't quinoa just another health food trend? That's exactly what I thought when I first started researching it. But the more I learned, the more I understood why so many nutrition experts continue talking about this remarkable seed. Most people think of quinoa as a grain. In reality, it's actually a seed. And unlike many foods that come and go in popularity, quinoa has been valued for centuries because of its unique nutritional profile. One reason quinoa caught my attention is because it provides what is known as a complete protein. Now, don't worry about the technical term. What matters is this. Your body relies on certain building blocks to maintain muscle tissue, support movement, and recover from daily activity. As we get older, those building blocks become even more important. Think about something simple: getting out of a chair, walking through a grocery store, climbing a flight of stairs, carrying a bag of groceries. None of these activities seem difficult until one day they start requiring more effort. Many older adults assume this is simply part of aging, but maintaining strength often starts with giving your body the support it needs every single day. That's one reason quinoa stands out. Many people find it easy to digest, easy to prepare, and easy to incorporate into everyday meals. It can be used instead of rice, added to soups, mixed into salads, or served alongside vegetables and lean protein. What I found particularly interesting is that quinoa doesn't just support strength. It may also support energy levels throughout the day. And for many adults over 75, energy is just as important as muscle, because strength without energy doesn't help much. Imagine having the strength to take a walk but feeling too tired to leave the house. Or having healthy legs but lacking the endurance to enjoy an afternoon with your grandchildren. The goal isn't simply building muscle. The goal is staying active, staying involved, staying engaged in life. That's where quinoa may offer an advantage. Its combination of protein, fiber, and nutrients helps support a more steady release of energy compared to highly processed foods that often leave people feeling sluggish shortly afterward. And perhaps most importantly, quinoa is simple. No complicated routines, no expensive equipment, no drastic lifestyle changes. Just a nutritious seed that can become part of a healthy daily routine. But as interesting as quinoa is, the next seed surprised me even more. Because while quinoa focuses heavily on providing nutritional support, the next seed contains something that many older adults are unknowingly lacking. And that deficiency may play a role in muscle weakness, fatigue, and even balance problems. Let's continue. Number 4, pumpkin seeds. If quinoa is one of nature's most complete seeds, pumpkin seeds might be one of nature's most overlooked. Most people see them as a simple snack. But during my research, I discovered that these small green seeds contain an impressive combination of nutrients that may support active aging. One of the biggest concerns adults face after 75 is not necessarily losing muscle. It's losing confidence. Confidence when walking. Confidence when getting out of bed. Confidence when navigating uneven ground. Confidence when climbing stairs. Because once a person loses confidence in their balance, something interesting happens. They begin moving less, they walk less, exercise less, go out less often. And unfortunately, less movement often leads to even more weakness. It's a cycle many older adults experience. Pumpkin seeds may help support the body in several ways that contribute to breaking that cycle. They're a natural source of magnesium, a mineral involved in muscle function, nerve communication, and overall movement. Without enough magnesium, some people experience fatigue, muscle discomfort, or occasional cramping. And while no single food can solve those issues overnight, consistently providing the body with important nutrients may help support normal function over time. Another reason pumpkin seeds caught my attention is their convenience. You don't need a complicated recipe. You can sprinkle them on oatmeal, add them to yogurt, mix them into salads, or simply enjoy a handful as a snack. Small habits often create the biggest long-term results, and that's a lesson I've seen repeated again and again while studying healthy aging. The people who remain active well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond rarely rely on one miracle solution. Instead, they build daily routines that support their bodies consistently over time. Pumpkin seeds can easily become one of those habits. But there was another discovery that fascinated me even more, because the next seed on our list provides something that many experts consider especially valuable for older adults who want to maintain strength, mobility, and overall vitality. And unlike pumpkin seeds, this next option remains surprisingly unknown to many people. Let's take a closer look. Number 3, hemp seeds. Now we're getting into a seed that genuinely surprised me during my research. In fact, before I started studying healthy aging more closely, I rarely heard anyone talk about hemp seeds at all. Yet many nutrition experts consider them one of the most complete foods available for supporting an active lifestyle. And here's why. As we get older, maintaining strength isn't just about preserving muscle, it's also about recovery. Think about how your body felt 20 or 30 years ago. You could spend an afternoon working in the yard, walking around town, or playing with your children, and bounce back fairly quickly. Today, recovery often takes longer. You may notice stiffness the next morning, a little soreness, a little less energy, a little more effort required to get moving. That's completely normal. But it's also one of the reasons hemp seeds caught my attention. They contain a combination of plant protein and healthy fats that help support the body as it repairs and maintains itself. And for many adults over 75, that daily support becomes increasingly important. Because independence isn't protected in a single day. It's protected through thousands of small decisions made over time. The foods we choose, the activities we continue doing, the habits we maintain, the effort we make to keep moving. Hemp seeds fit naturally into that philosophy. Many people describe them as having a mild, nutty flavor. They can be sprinkled over yogurt, oatmeal, vegetables, salads, or blended into smoothies. Simple, convenient, easy to include in everyday life. But what fascinated me most wasn't the nutrition itself. It was the bigger picture. Again and again, I noticed that active older adults weren't necessarily looking for dramatic transformations. They weren't trying to build massive muscles. They simply wanted enough strength to continue living life comfortably. To walk without fear, to travel, to visit family, to remain involved in the activities they enjoy. That's a very different goal, and honestly, it's a much more meaningful one. Because at this stage of life, freedom often matters more than appearance. Being able to get out of a chair without assistance matters more than impressing anyone at a gym. Being able to walk confidently across a parking lot matters more than lifting heavy weights, and supporting those everyday abilities is exactly why foods like hemp seeds continue attracting attention among health-conscious older adults. But if you think that's impressive, wait until you hear about the next seed. Because this tiny seed has been used for centuries. Ancient civilizations valued it so highly that some considered it one of their most important foods. And today, many people are rediscovering why. Number 2. Chia seeds. If you've ever seen chia seeds, you know they're incredibly small. At first glance, it's hard to believe something so tiny could offer so many potential benefits. But appearances can be deceiving. One of the biggest challenges many adults face after 75 is maintaining consistent energy throughout the day. Maybe you've experienced it yourself. You wake up feeling fairly good. The morning goes well, but by afternoon you feel noticeably more tired. Tasks that seemed simple earlier suddenly require more effort. You may find yourself sitting down more often, moving less, postponing activities you once enjoyed. That gradual decline in energy affects more than people realize. Because when energy drops, movement often drops too. And when movement decreases, strength can slowly follow. That's one reason chia seeds have become so popular among people interested in healthy aging. They contain fiber, healthy fats, plant protein, and nutrients that help support overall wellness. But what makes them especially interesting is how they interact with water. When mixed with liquid, chia seeds expand and form a gel-like texture. Many people find this helps them feel satisfied for longer periods of time, and maintaining stable energy throughout the day can make a meaningful difference in daily life. After all, having enough energy to stay active is an important part of maintaining independence. Think about the activities that bring joy to life: walking with friends, shopping, gardening, visiting family, attending community events, playing with grandchildren. These moments require energy, and energy often determines whether we participate or stay home. Another reason I found chia seeds interesting is their simplicity. There's nothing complicated about them. You can add them to oatmeal, mix them into yogurt, blend them into smoothies, or prepare a simple chia pudding the night before. Small habits, simple habits, habits that are easy to repeat, and those are often the habits that last. One thing I've learned while researching healthy aging is that consistency almost always beats intensity. A small, healthy habit practiced every day often produces better results than an extreme habit that lasts only a few weeks. And chia seeds fit perfectly into that approach. But now we've reached the final seed, the one that surprised me more than any other, the one that stood out repeatedly during my research, and the one that many experts consider one of the most valuable additions to a healthy aging routine. What makes it so special isn't just what it contains, it's how many different areas of health it may help support at the same time. Let's take a closer look. Number 1. Flax seeds. And now we've arrived at the seed that impressed me the most during my research. Flax seeds. At first glance, they don't look particularly special. They're small, simple, easy to overlook. But sometimes the most powerful things are the ones people pay the least attention to. What makes flax seeds stand out isn't a single nutrient. It's the combination of benefits they may provide for healthy aging. As I continued studying nutrition and mobility in older adults, I noticed something interesting. The people who remained active well into their 70s, 80s, and even 90s often shared one common characteristic. They focused on supporting their entire body. Not just their muscles, not just their joints, not just their heart. Everything worked together. And that's one reason flax seeds repeatedly appeared in research and discussions surrounding healthy aging. They're known for their healthy fats, fiber, and naturally occurring compounds that may help support overall wellness. But what interested me most was their connection to daily function. Because at the end of the day, health isn't measured by numbers on a chart. It's measured by what you're able to do. Can you walk comfortably? Can you stand confidently? Can you move around your home without fear? Can you enjoy your hobbies? Can you remain independent? Those are the questions that matter. And when viewed through that lens, flax seeds become much more interesting. Many people choose to add ground flax seeds to oatmeal, yogurt, smoothies, or other meals because they're easy to incorporate into everyday life. No complicated routines, no expensive equipment. Just another small habit that may contribute to healthy aging over time. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson from today's video. There is rarely one magical food, one magical supplement, or one magical solution. Instead, the people who age successfully often focus on consistent daily habits. Small decisions repeated again and again, and over time those decisions add up. But during my research, I discovered something else that I think is important to discuss. Because food is incredibly important. In fact, it should always be the foundation. Yet many older adults eventually realize that maintaining strength, mobility, and comfort often requires a broader approach. You see, eating healthy is essential. Staying active is essential. Getting quality sleep is essential. But as we age, our bodies face new challenges. And that's one reason nutritional supplements have become increasingly popular among adults who want to remain active and independent for as long as possible. Now, I want to be very clear. Supplements are not magic. They are not replacements for healthy habits. And they certainly don't replace proper medical care. But many people view them as a way to complement the healthy choices they're already making. While researching this topic, I spent time looking at different natural formulas developed specifically for older adults. Formulas designed to support mobility, flexibility, joint comfort, and healthy aging. One formula in particular caught my attention. Not because it promised miracles, but because of its philosophy. The idea wasn't to replace healthy habits. The idea was to support them. The formula focused on ingredients commonly associated with mobility, comfort, flexibility, and active living. And that immediately stood out to me because it aligned with everything we've discussed today. After all, the goal isn't simply building muscle. The goal is preserving freedom, being able to move comfortably, being able to stay active, being able to enjoy everyday life, being able to continue doing the things you love, whether that's gardening, walking your dog, traveling, playing with your grandchildren, or simply moving around your home with confidence. Because for most people over 75, that's what matters most. Not bigger muscles, not athletic performance. Freedom, independence, and quality of life. During my research, I found that many experts agree on something important. Healthy aging works best when multiple pieces come together. Nutritious foods, regular movement, good sleep, proper hydration, meaningful social connections, and when appropriate, nutritional support. No single piece does everything, but together they can make a meaningful difference. And perhaps that's the most encouraging message of all. Because no matter your age, there are still things you can do today that may help support your health tomorrow. Small changes, simple habits, consistent actions, those are often the things that create the biggest long-term impact. So, if there's one idea I'd like you to take away from today's conversation, it's this. Growing older doesn't automatically mean giving up your independence. It doesn't automatically mean giving up the activities you enjoy. It doesn't automatically mean accepting weakness as inevitable. There are still choices you can make. There are still habits you can build, and there are still ways to support your body as the years go by. My name is Mark, and I want to thank you for spending these minutes with me today. I truly appreciate your time. If you found this information helpful, consider sharing it with a friend or family member who may benefit from it as well. And remember, take care of your body. Keep moving, stay curious, and never underestimate the power of small daily habits. They may accomplish more than you think. Finally, if you'd like to learn more about the natural formula that stood out during my research into mobility, flexibility, joint comfort, and healthy aging, you'll find a link in the description below where you can explore the information for yourself and decide whether it's something that fits your personal goals. Thank you for being here. I wish you continued strength, continued mobility, and many more years of active, independent living. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.